So let's talk about Steven Universe. We're gonna do another big episode arc review series, but this one is a little more um, individualized episodes, but they all kind of form the same arc. I'm doing this because this arc is not that interesting, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Basically, let's start with Dewey wins. The start of this episode is terrible because, first of all, it just makes you pissed off at this arc from the very beginning. Says that Connie feels betrayed that Steven threw himself into space because they were always supposed to work as a team, and she didn't really like that Steven did that. Now, that's a fine conflict. But the fact that she steals goddamn lion, what she just learned is Lars' only way to communicate from goddamn space, is a dickish move. And it's not called out enough in the show. And Steven just kind of gives up on that for a minute and goes help Dewey run for re-election, except Nanofall wins. And that's a sweet actually moment. It's a kind of a showing that after the events that have gone on in the show, characters are changing, and even townies are changing, and I like that. But I still am like, it's just a bullshit beginning of an arc. Gemcation is another lame episode. Basically, this episode felt like we're just trying to lore dump you, except not. Like they're teasing the audience. Basically, Steven is down, not communicating with the gems that he's upset about Connie, so they take him to a cabin to kind of get what's going on out of him because they think he's still upset about things he saw in space. Garnet tries to tell him more about Pink Diamond. She was like, no thanks, that's not what I really cared about. And then you get, Pearl, who's covering her mouth, which we know why later in a later episode, why that's a thing. But it still doesn't make it better. It's just so annoying, like, these episodes, because you're just like, really? Like, you're just teasing the audience, and not in a fun way that's keeping me engaged. I'm just really bored with the episode. I do like all the gems kind of working together to help Steven because it feels like something the show just shows a lot of the character growth that's happened throughout the show, but still. Next episode, Raising the Barn. This episode is about essentially Lapis leaving Peridot and fleeing Earth. I like the conflict here. I get why she'd want to flee, but I think what's shitty about it is like they don't really actually properly resolve this plot line in the sense that Lapis just kind of decides to come back later off screen in a different episode. And so I'm kind of like, I'm fine with that, with how they chose to put everything here, but it's still like, geez, I don't know. Back to the kindergarten. Is a okay episode. It's basically about Peridot dealing with trying to regrow stuff in the kindergarten and was unable to do it, and her just kind of dealing with the aftermath of Lapis no longer being around. And it's a fine episode. It's very boring. I honestly always forget this episode. Sadie Killer is the best episode of this arc. This episode is about Sadie being tired from work, especially now that she has to do more shifts because, of course, Lars is in space. And she ends up joining the Cool Kids band with Steven. They end up having a great time, and they realize they love hanging out together, so they decide that's what they're going to do. They're going to play together in a band, and Sadie quits her job. Great music in this episode, and you really feel for Sadie in this episode. It's all really well written stuff. I love all the stuff that goes on in this one. Kevin Party is okay. Episode. I don't really like Kevin as a character. I think he's a shitty character. I understand that's the point, but I don't ever want to see him in the show because they've done such a good job making him seem shitty. But basically, Steven goes to this party with Kevin, finds out Connie's there, and then they kind of work things out, and that's the end of the arc. I think that these episodes are fine because I like some of them in principle, like the idea of showing like Mayor Dewey's no longer the mayor and seeing certain things change around the town, and really seeing how the events of Gem stuff finally are affecting the Townie episodes, things that we've always wanted. But it still felt like it needed to be written better, and it should definitely not have been the focus after we just lost Lars in space. For all the Gems know, this dude could be dead. And I guess, to the Gems, maybe it doesn't matter that much because the Gems don't have a connection to Lars like Steven does. But it's still like, they're always here to talk about protecting humanity, and like, right now they don't seem that interested in protecting a goddamn human, so I don't know. It just felt like, when are we going to see Lars again? Maybe never. These were just not great episodes. They were super flawed, and I don't care for them.